Hello and welcome. This is Jennifer Laszlo Mizrahi, President of Respectability, a nonprofit organization working to enable people with disabilities to have a better future. I'm very delighted today to bring you this webinar, which is a free public service with a wonderful speaker on teen pre-employment and community service experiences for youth with and without disabilities. Again, this is about teen pre-employment and community service experiences for teens with and without disabilities. I've just turned the slide to show some pictures of some terrific young people involved in this program. We see a teenage boy sweeping up a playroom for homeless children. We have teens hanging out on a break while helping a senior adult clean up her yard. We have a teenage girl packing food at the food bank. And throughout this program, we have teens with and without disabilities supporting each other and helping people in the community. This is a very unique program that is at the Jewish Community Center in Washington, D.C., which serves people of all faiths. Our speaker is Erica Steen. She is the Director of Community Engagement at the Center for Community Service at the Washington, DCJCC. She grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, where she began at age 10 volunteering for a local day camp. She continued her work at camps during the summer through her high school and college years. She attended the University of Kansas, where she received her degree in human development and family life. Following graduation, she began work with juvenile offenders, working for the state of Missouri's Department of Youth Services. For the last 18 years, Erica has worked in the Jewish community with organizations including the B'nai B'rith Youth Organization, the Jewish Federation of St. Louis, and JCCs in St. Louis, Dayton, Cincinnati, and Washington, D.C. Her work has included developing and training teams and leadership programs, creating youth and family programming, and coordinating volunteering work in the community. She has been at the JCC since 2006 as the Director of the Community Service Department, coordinating volunteer projects that help the DC's vulnerable populations and help to improve both the lives of the volunteers and those who they help. In 2012, she had the opportunity to add to her portfolio and began supervising the JCC Senior Lunch Program and the LGBTQ staff while she continues to run the Community Services Department. When she is not working, which is a huge thing because she works a lot on this terrific program, she still volunteers outside of leading her own volunteer program. She volunteers with Leukemia, Lymphoma Society team in training and helps coordinate bone marrow registries in the hopes to find a cure for blood cancers. This program at the JCC serves a huge number of people with a very large variety of needs and different sectors. And so I turn it over to Erica Steen to talk about this breakthrough program that is enabling teens with and without disabilities to work together in a fully inclusive environment. Erica?
Thank you so much, Jennifer. First of all, I just want to start off by giving everyone a little bit of a background on who we are and where we started here at the DCJCC. The Jewish Community Center here is first and foremost a community center. I know that not everyone on the call is from a Jewish agency, and that's fine. Everything we do here can be done elsewhere. Our Jewish values are really to make the world a better place, and let's be honest, that's really a human value. So most importantly, just to let you know, we have recently added some new wording to our website and to all of our programs that I think is very important. The DCJCC embraces inclusion in all of its programs and activities. We welcome and encourage the participation of all people, regardless of their background, sexual orientation, abilities, or religion, including interfaith couples and families. So I think that's just really important moving forward to let you know that that's where we stand and who we are and what we believe. As Jennifer mentioned earlier in my bio, part of what I do is as the director of the Morris Cafritz Center for Community Service. Really quickly, the photo you see here is of teens spending time at camp helping seniors at the Seabury organization and helping them tend to their gardens. Through our community service department, the Morris Cafritz Center for Community Service, we organize all sorts of volunteer projects. The community service department has been around for close to 30 years now, and we partner with all sorts of nonprofits and social service agencies throughout the Washington, D.C. area. And it's really important to us that all of our volunteers come from all backgrounds, have all abilities, and are just a great section of our community here in the D.C. area. Just a little bit about what our community service center does so that you have a little bit of background on how we got started in all of this. The Morris Cafritz Center for Community Service was actually started 5 years ago. 29 years ago, when 5 community members came to the JCC and said, we're looking for something to do on Christmas Day. And so a volunteer project was put together for those individuals, and over the last 29 years, it's grown to close to 1,000. And on top of that program, as you see the D25 logo in the top right corner, we also have 3 other days of service. We do volunteering on Martin Luther King Day. We have a program called Good Deeds Day, which is community-wide. Our Everything But the Turkey Volunteer Day of Service, which is an opportunity for community members to come out and prepare food for those experiencing homelessness on Thanksgiving. On top of all of this, we run year-round projects. We have a shelter repair program called Barren Builders. Our Hunger Action program at the JCC, volunteers can come and prepare food for the homeless community. We have a program where we actually go out into DC Central Kitchen, which is a soup kitchen in this area, and prepare food for those experiencing homelessness. Handmade for the Homeless makes hats and scarves for folks in the winter months. Books to Prisons provides reading material for those who are incarcerated. And Martha's Table Joyful Market helps to make sure that families living in low-income neighborhoods and food deserts have an opportunity to receive fresh produce. To get to the reason that we're here today is really comes underneath our annual projects, which is our Summer of Service Camp. And this is something we're very proud of. For over 15 years now, we've been providing an opportunity for teens to come and volunteer throughout the summer to be able to gain service hours for school. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But we do have referral projects and custom volunteer opportunities that we run throughout the year. So why Summer of Service? Because that's really why we're here, is our opportunity for teens to come together and earn their service hours. The DC metro area, the schools are requesting and requiring the students to get 75 to 100 hours of what they call student service learning hours to graduate high school. And so it's something really important that these teens are needing to do. And they're expected to get these hours on their own and to go out and organize their own projects and find places to volunteer. And so we really put ourselves out there and become a hub, a place where these teens can get their service learning hours, whether it's in the summer or throughout the school year. But we really, we like to be that place where they can come and get their hours. A little bit about our Summer of Service program. It's just over 15 years old. Over the past 15 years, we've had over 600 teens. Throughout the summer, and I'll talk a little bit more about the day-to-day activities in a bit, but the teens really participate in all sorts of volunteer activities. They help to pack up food for the Capital Area Food Bank. They'll prepare food at a local shelter. They will go to parks and local gardens and help to clean out the rivers and clean up the neighborhood, which is really something that's a wonderful service to provide. But it's really important to us also that the teens learn something from this process. The whole point, student service learning, is that they're getting something in return, and that's where the whole pre-employment thing comes. A lot of teens have no idea what they want to be doing with their lives, and this is an opportunity for them to really try out different types of things. Do they enjoy gardening? Do they enjoy cooking? What kinds of things do they want to maybe do as a hobby or in the future? And this is a really great opportunity for them to be able to learn new skills. This will be our third summer, really putting it out there that we're open and welcome to teens with disabilities. We've had teens in the past with a disability, but never more than one or two. And we found that it's really a neat opportunity for these teens to be able to come out and intermix with each other and to learn something from each other. So this will be our third summer doing so. As I mentioned before, all teens are expected to get their SSL hours to graduate high school. And the importance to us of creating these service camps for teens with disabilities is to give them an opportunity. For a typical teen, a neurotypical teen who is maybe very social, it might be very easy for them to just pick up the phone and cold call a senior center or a soup kitchen and be able to go out and do their service hours on their own. But for a shy teen or a teen with a disability, a lot of this pressure is put back on their parents. And so we hope that the importance of creating our camp is to give all teens this opportunity, an easy way so that they can go out and gain their service hours, and the parents don't have to do a lot of legwork. And as I mentioned before, it's also all about giving these teens an opportunity to have some real-world experience. What does inclusion look like at a summer of service? So I'll real quickly point out the two photos that are on this page. The first are two teens packing up groceries for clients in need. They're at the Capital Area Food Bank, working together to put those packages together. And the photo on the right is a young girl who's gardening. We do a lot of work with senior adults in the area who might not be able to take care of their own lawn. And so this is a great opportunity for seniors to get some help and for the teens to be able to give back. Inclusion at Summer of Service is, well, we hope that it looks like a regular everyday camp for teenagers. We host 12 to 14 teens. This past year we had a 60-40 split. 60% of our teens were neurotypical, where 40% had disabilities of all sorts. And being cautious to that staff-teen ratio is something that's really important to us. We found that the last 2 years, one staff per two teens with disabilities works fairly well, but you'll see in future slides and conversation that we really take the time to get to know the families and the teens that are coming to camp. And these staff are also very well trained. Many of them have degrees and are teachers throughout the year, so they're skilled in working with teens with disabilities and youth with disabilities, and they use their creativity to adapt the projects to make sure that all teens can participate. And they work with our other camp staff to really integrate the teens so that everyone really feels a part of what we're doing. A typical day, although I have to admit there really is no typical day at camp. Every day is different, and that's something that we really convey to the parents to let them know that that there's a schedule to each day, but each day is going to look a little bit different depending on where we're going to do service that day. But typically the teens would arrive at 8:30 when camp begins. Just so you know, we do actually have 2 meeting points for camp. One is at the DCJCC, and the other is in Montgomery County, which we found a lot of our teens live in that area. By 9 o'clock, they've hopped on a bus and they're heading to the service project itself. And and once they get to the service site, the staff there will really take the time to discuss where the teens are as part of that service learning process, so that the teens have an idea of what's their purpose for the day and where are they and who are they going to be helping. And it's something that the staff are really conscious of. The teens will work for a majority of the day, and when they take a break for lunch, the staff will really take the time to talk about, what have we done so far? How did it make you feel? What are you enjoying? What do you not enjoy? And then they'll also engage in conversation on that return bus trip at the end of the day, which is something really important when it comes to ending the day, so that the teens really go home knowing that not only have they done something good, but hopefully they've learned and realized who they are and something that they've learned as well. So adding an inclusion component to our camp was something that we wanted to do, and I think the slide says adding inclusion component to camp, but I think it could also be added to, you could insert something other than camp, any other type of program, I think would be helpful with this. But I think one of the keys is really staffing and making sure that we have staff who are skilled and knowledgeable. We've, over the last 2 summers, we've hired, and will again this summer, we've hired special education teachers and paraeducators. We want to make sure that they build a working relationship with our camp staff who don't have experience working with teens with disabilities, so that they can have a good form of communication between each other to be able to make those adaptations to the different projects, and to also make sure that there's a good number of staff and a good ratio in case a teen needs to step out and a staff member needs to go with them. We want to make sure that we have all of our teens covered and give them the support that they need. But one of the most important things really is all the preparation and making sure that we have their applications. We have pre-meetings with teens and staff training for all the staff involved that will be interacting with the teens themselves. There are 4 things that we broke down so that you can see the different preparations that we have. The first is our camp registration, and you'll see the registration link right there, the bit.ly if you have an interest in seeing what our camp registration looks like. But that in itself is really our general overall camp registration. That's for all of the campers coming. Second is really the details about the teens and his or her family. We've got a checklist that we have the parents fill out for us. And then an opportunity for the parents, teen, and staff to meet. So a little bit back to the part 1 in regard to the registration form. We have teens of all different abilities and even younger students coming to our other camps at the JCC, and we need to figure out exactly who's who and who do we need to follow up with. And that's where the checkbox comes in. So we hope that the parents will give us an opportunity to know that their teen has some special needs, and that we will reach out to them to find out what kind of accommodations they might need. The second part, as I mentioned before, is really what I consider registration part 2, getting more information. Just so you all know, this is a very shortened version of the form. So if anyone afterwards would like a longer version, we can make sure that you get that, the full version. We're actually in the process of revising it for this summer. But what you'll see here is that we're very specific. Not only do we want to know who the parents are residing with the teen, but are there any parents that aren't residing in the home? Because a lot of times that can affect a teen's behavior or affect their their mood from one day to another. So it's really important to know if they have a parent or they have a sibling who doesn't live with them full time. The second part of that is really drilling down to some of the important questions that you would really want to know. A few of these, and I won't read through all of them, but wanting to know what are the teen's best attributes and what can we do to bring out these attributes in them. Has the teen's disability been professionally evaluated? It's important for us to know what activities the teens like to do with other people. A lot of teens with disabilities are very introverted, and there may be certain things that we can do to help them become more integrated into the camp itself. And then also asking questions about when they become upset or how we can help to calm them down. Things along those lines that will help so that on the day-to-day basis, while we're participating in different activities, the staff know some of the best strategies to really help them feel a part of the group itself. Part 3 is really finding out more about the teen's abilities and disabilities. This is an abridged form, but all of these things are listed with check boxes, giving the parents an opportunity to tell us more about the teen themselves and what their developmental or neurological disability is, what their sensory and motor skills are like, communication, speech and language, and learning disabilities, because all of these things are going to affect the teen and their interaction with others. That's continued. We ask about anxiety or mood disorders and behaviors, and then also asking the parents to help us learn a little bit more about some of the teens' traits and what their social style is, to be able to help integrate them just a little bit more into camp itself. And part 4 is that opportunity for the parents, teen, and staff to meet together. It's important to find out what the parents' needs are. A lot of times the parents will have different needs than what their teen is. We had a teen last summer whose parents wanted to meet, and they insisted on meeting here at the JCC when we had originally asked if we could come to their home. And I think that it was just an opportunity not only for the parents to see where their teen was going to be going each morning, but also for the teen to see where they would be interacting. A majority of our day through this program is actually spent out, I guess you could say, in the field, but it is a meeting place at the beginning and end of the day for a majority of the teens. Budget. Everybody wants to know about the budget. Very, very, very important. We do have a fee for camp. We need to make sure that our costs are covered. There are some higher expenses when it comes to hiring staff with a background in working with teens with disability, and also the fact that we're driving around the DC metro area throughout the day. So the costs of special needs staff and transportation make a difference. Just a couple of things to point out on this budget sheet. First of all, I'll point out that our plan for this summer is 4 weeks of camp. And as I mentioned before, about 12 teens per week. We keep it small because when you go into the service sites, a lot of times they can't accept more than 12 or 14 volunteers at one time. It also gives the teens a chance to interact with each other, and they learn a little bit more when it's a smaller group like that. So I did mention that we do have a camp fee, and it is in line with our other camps here at the JCC. I mentioned the line for transportation. Over the last 2 summers, we've had about 50% of our teens coming from the Maryland, Montgomery County area, and about 50% of them from the DC proper area. So it's something that we want to keep in mind because there's about a 30-minute drive between the two areas, and that's without traffic. So those in the DC area know what I'm talking about with the traffic issue. As I mentioned before, our paraeducator and our special education teachers is something that we feel is a benefit to the families, to the teens, and to the program itself. And it's important to make sure that the staff is educated in the sense that they can make those adaptions that the teens need, and they can make it worthwhile for the teens who might not understand, and help them to fit in with the larger group itself. So that's something that's definitely an expense that's worthwhile. A little bit more about some of our budget sources, and really this should just say resources in general, because there's a few more here. There's a few partners that are not necessarily financial, but they give us enough of a partnership that it really has monetary value, even if it doesn't, I guess you could say, in-kind abilities. But as far as our budget sources, our camp fees themselves, we have 3 major partners in the community, Montgomery County Volunteer Center, Respectability, and Dreams for Kids DC. And these 3 organizations, certainly Respectabilities has actually become an amazing resource for us, and we utilize the organization for a lot of our questions when it comes to day-to-day activities and working with the families. But we've also found that they, along with Dreams for Kids DC and Montgomery County Volunteer Center, are really a great way to help spread the word through the community. Our volunteer service agencies are an obvious partner that we can't do this program without, and they also provide that pre-employment opportunity for these teens, giving them an opportunity to learn something new and to learn something that they might be able to utilize later in life. And on the financial end, we do receive financial support from the Jewish Federation of Greater Washington and individual donors throughout the area who are connected not only with the world of disability, but who are supportive and want to make sure that there's opportunities for the teens in our area. Marketing is something that we couldn't do without. We have numerous opportunities in the community to spread the word, most of them online. We are thrilled to be able to include this as a JCC overall program. It runs within our camp program itself. We list it several different places on our website, throughout the building, and throughout our newsletters. Thanks again to Respectabilities and Dreams for Kids DC and their newsletters and their networks. And we've also recently started working with X-Minds and utilizing their resources to spread the word. And a lot of our teens will come and hear about the program directly through their schools themselves. Here is an example. This is our new promotional postcard. It actually has not been passed out yet. It just received approval this past week. So I'm in the process of ordering postcards that will be used, passed out through programs in the area. We will certainly use it here at the DCJCC with any of our teen programs, and it will be distributed to our partners in the community to share with their resources and their partners. And hopefully you're intrigued by what we do, and you see the importance of including teens of all abilities in our summer program. And I think really what's most important is that these teens not only walk away having a great experience, but they've learned something new through that social service aspect of things.
Erica, that was really terrific. We really, really appreciate you leading us through that and the excellent work that you and your team are doing in conjunction with these wonderful school teachers who are spending their summers with you, serving many of the same kids that they serve during the school year through some of the special ed programs and the autism programs in our county. So now we're ready to turn it over to questions from the audience. So, operator, if you can let people know how to either ask on the telephone a question or through the internet.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have dialed in and would like to ask a question, press 7# on your phone now and you will be placed in the queue in the order received. Listen for your name to be announced and ask your question when prompted. You can also send questions using the chat window located on the left of the presentation screen.
So while we're waiting for people to type in their questions or to get in queue, let me ask you, Erica, what was the most challenging thing about bringing in kids with disabilities? Because as you said, you've been doing a summer of service for many years, but it was predominantly kids without disabilities, with like 1 or 2 kids with disabilities, and now you've changed to a program with about, with a very significant number of teenagers with disabilities. So what was the hardest part of how to do this, and how did you address that challenge?
I think the hardest part has really been integrating these teens and helping them, not only helping them to feel a part of the program itself, but having the neurotypical teens accepting of the teens with disabilities. And it's actually been a lot easier than we expected, because of the educators that we bring on for the summer, because it's something that they do on a regular basis. So yes, it was a challenge, but because of the staff that we have and the training that we do with them, it's easier than we thought it would be.
Operator, do we have anyone in queue for the phone for questions?
No, ma'am.
I don't see any questions that are chatted typed into the chat. Am I missing something, operator? Because usually by now we have them.
Yeah, nobody's typed a question and nobody's gone into the queue.
Okay. So let me encourage folks again to ask questions and just say, can you talk about some of the different disabilities that some of the kids have had, and what you've been able to do in terms of accommodation for meeting their needs?
Absolutely. So we've actually had a variety of disabilities. I would say at this point, a good portion of the teens attending do fall on the autism spectrum or the Asperger's spectrum. We have had a handful of teens with physical disabilities, possibly not being able to use their extremities the way that a neurotypical teen would be able to. And we really, by meeting with the parents and the teens, we've been able to tailor what we do to the teens that are attending. It's really important for us that these teens walk away having a great experience, so that, at least in my mind, not only is it an opportunity for them to learn something new, but for a lot of these teens, they look at volunteering as a chore. They're required to do it to graduate. And by us making sure that they're comfortable and that they fit in, they walk away realizing that volunteering isn't as bad as they thought it would be.
Nancy asked, do you have teens that do not wish to participate after the first day and who found it was too much for them, either physically or emotionally? Maybe you can talk through that, because I know that some of the kids who participated in the program do have significant anxiety or behavior issues. Talk through some of those experiences.
Absolutely. So when we actually initiated the program, we felt that consistency and doing several of the service projects for the same projects over and over again might be easier for the teens. But what we found is that by changing the projects each day, we can work with the teen and talk with them and their parents and explain that each day is a new experience. So by keeping the staff consistent and keeping kind of the overall schedule of the day consistent, we can change up some of the projects so that if a teen is struggling one day, that hopefully the next day is a new opportunity for them. And I think that sometimes it does take that first day or two to help integrate the teens into the program. But it can be a struggle. It very much can be a struggle.
We're hearing that there is an echo effect sometimes. I don't know if people are still feeling that there is an echo. I hope not. But there was a question about whether this is just in the Washington area or not.
So yes, currently, at least as far as we are aware, it is a program only happening in the Washington, D.C. area. But I certainly welcome others to copy the program or to use our, I'm happy to speak with people if they want help duplicating. And I think it would be wonderful if it was nationwide. I would love to have an opportunity to work on a project like that.
And so can you talk us through some of the pre-employment skills that you think people might be getting through this program?
Absolutely. So when you look at it from the outside, it's a service camp. The teens come and they do a different service project each day. But I think that there are a lot of employment learning opportunities that fall within what we do. First of all, certainly the social aspect. Once teens get into post-high school age, they're in a job, they have to be social with other people unless they have a job that they work from home on their own. Working with others is something that's really important. So that social aspect is certainly a part of every day and everything that we do. But each of the projects really has work opportunities within them. You're working with an outside organization, so you have to take direction from someone else. Some of the projects that the teens do are preparing food for folks experiencing homelessness. So they're learning cooking skills. They're learning serving skills when they serve meals. Some of the projects take place at parks or in gardens, so they're learning gardening. Last year, one of the teens went home and was so excited to tell his mother that he learned how to use a lawnmower. So that certainly provides skills that they might not learn at home. And so each day really brings on new opportunities, whether it be craft making or interacting with children or visiting with seniors, and learning different aspects of the real world that they may not encounter on a day-to-day basis.
Do these kids who have disabilities and these kids that don't have disabilities, do they associate with one another? Do they build that integrated friendship, or do they tend to wind up in silos where the kids with disabilities are separate from the kids without disabilities?
The plan really is to integrate them. The teachers that we hire to work over the summer and the camp counselors who are college age and older get together several times before the summer even begins. And we make that point of really trying to have the interactions between the teens. I think there are silos, but I think that's a challenge on our part for us to overcome. But I think that from the staff perspective, they know that part of their job is to help the teens integrate with each other.
By the time the summer rolls around, what percentage of the kids have met at least one of the staff members in person before the summer starts?
As for the teens with disabilities, they should have all met someone, one of our special educators. That's something that's really important to us, so they're not showing up the first day not meeting anyone. As far as our neurotypical kids, if a parent requests it, we absolutely 100% want to make that an opportunity available, but it has not been requested in the past. But it's really important. A lot of our teens that attend the program happen to have some of our educators as teachers throughout the year, so that's worked to our advantage. But we have had some other students and teens join us, and we make sure that they have an opportunity to meet in advance.
Are there any other questions by people either on the line or who want to type in questions for Erica about the Summer of Service program for teens with and without disabilities who want to get service learning opportunities? Erica, is there anything that we didn't ask you that you feel at this point it's important for people who might be interested in replicating this program in other places on how they can best go about doing that?
certainly, please utilize my contact information. Reach out to me. We do have a specific volunteer page on our website, so if you go to WashingtonDCJCC.org and you type in /volunteer, you'll see our overall volunteer page. Also, our service camp online, the website that you see, the bit.ly website, will give you more information about what happens at camp, but I'm certainly welcome and open to answering questions and speaking with people one-on-one in regard to them.
Very appreciated. Well, let me thank all of you who listened to the webinar today. Let me really thank Erica Steen for this terrific work and for being willing to share it with others. We're really delighted to have you as our guest speaker today, and thank you to all of those who joined.
Thank you.
Thank you, Erica, and thank you to all again. And operator, this concludes our call.